Yo, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to hop on here and talk about the dumbest shit that I've ever seen happen in a classroom. Y'all seem to love these school stories, so let's dive right into it. This one takes place in biology class. This was quite a few years ago. Fuck, dude, this is probably 8 years ago now, something like that. This takes place when I was 16 in bio class, and I hop in. It's like 11 a.m. I sit down in the classroom next to my homie Aaron. Now, Aaron is a fucking fiend. This man wanted to be high in class at all times. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't as big of a fiend, but if I knew my homie got it on him, I would indulge. You know, he would always ask if I wanted to smoke with him, so he wasn't just doing it alone, right? But anyways, I get into class and I sit down next to my homie Aaron, and we start chatting a little bit, and then class starts, right? We're sitting in these desks, in these chairs at these desks in the front of the classroom, and our teacher, we can call him Mr. C for the video. Mr. C comes up to the smartboard in the front of the class, and he starts giving us our daily presentation. He would just present a few things, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and then the rest of the class was awesome. He would let us break into groups and work on our schoolwork that we had for the next day. We could talk to our friends. And in the back of this classroom, there was a huge lab setup, right? There were a bunch of big tables that were really high up and built into the wall. They had microscopes, they had sinks and big, really intense lights that hung over them and a bunch of lab equipment. You get the idea. This was the big science room in school. But anyways, Mr. C is giving us his presentation. It's pretty chill, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then we break into our groups. And dude, we were chilling. All of us scatter around the room. The kids that didn't pay too much attention in class would all go to the back in the lab so they could play their own rap music and talk a little bit louder, maybe rip their vapes in the back of the class. Growing up at this time, this was when Juul was blowing up. You could still buy mango pods and cucumber flavor, like all the good flavors were still on the shelves, right? And teachers hadn't caught on to it at this point. You could bring a cart to school, you could bring a vape to school. Yeah, there was still a chance of getting caught, but it wasn't as monitored as it is today. There are vape detectors in bathrooms now. But anyways, guys, we're all breaking out into our groups. Mr. C, big ass dude, super chill guy, loves astrology, big passion for science, great teacher. He goes and he sits back down at his desk. He's just chilling. He has some music on. He's answering emails, talking to the students that need some help with their work, right? Aaron and I dip to the back of the class. We're sitting all the way in the corner, farthest away from the teacher. And these are some pretty high tables. And not only that, we throw our book bags on top of the desk and we put our computers up. And that's like an extra couple feet. You know, you can't really see a lot back there. But anyways, we're playing some music, bumping some Kendrick, some Lil Wayne. That's what he liked to listen to at the time. And we're just shooting the shit on our computers, playing some games on our shitty Chromebooks. We're hitting the Juul and ducking down below the desk and passing it back and forth. I mean, bio class was pretty chill, right? But as I said, my homie Aaron was a fucking fiend. Loved the dude to death, but dude had to be baked in class all the time, right? And this was when the carts and the Juul, everything was taken off, like the Soren, all of that. Dude reaches into his backpack and he pulls out this dab pen, right? He's got this little 510 threaded battery. It's a little black pen. And then he's got this 1 gram cart full of wax or probably just shitty distillate, you know, this weed stuff in there, this weed concentrate. That's the word I was looking for. But anyways, he pulls this pen out and I think that he's about to ask if I want to go over to the bathroom and take some rips and then come back to class, right? And I had never seen anybody do this shit before. I'd seen homies rip their Juuls in class before, just like regular vapes, but Aaron ducks down below our book bags on top of the table, right? Like crouches down in the back of the classroom next to this lab table that we're standing at. And he takes a fucking huge blinker off of this pen. Ducks down, takes a huge blinker. Whole class is unaware of what's going on except for me, right? Because it's us two just chilling. And I see him try to zero this hit. He's holding in all of this smoke, all of this vapor. He makes this red face, his cheeks get full of air like he needs to cough and he's covering his mouth. And we're both looking at each other like trying to hold in the laugh. You know what I mean? Trying not to just start dying laughing looking at each other because I don't want this smoke to start coming out of them. But he holds it in pretty good. He walks over just a couple feet, ducks down below another lab table, and slowly starts to exhale whatever smoke was left in him, and barely anything came out. Just a little bit of vapor left his face and faded into the room. Obviously, ripping a cart in the middle of biology class is fucking crazy. I've never seen anybody do that in class before. He did zero most of it, and what he did exhale was pretty fruity. The cart was really terpy and fruity and peppery. It wasn't like a really dank, like weed stinking cart. But I'm sure that you could still smell it. I'm sure the faint smell of weed was just in the classroom, right? But anyways, dude takes this rip, and then he comes back over to the desk, and we just start laughing about it a little bit, because I'm kind of in shock that he had the guts to do that. Something so dumb and crazy in the middle of biology class. But anyways, he offers me a rip, and I say, you know what? Fuck it, dude. It's biology class. It's 11 a.m. I'm tired. Let's do it, right? Fuck it. I want to get baked, and then the rest of the school day will be that much more chill. It'll go by a little quicker, right? So he gives me the pen, I duck down below the table, and I go to rip it, and it just blinks this red light at me. The pen is dead. I pop my head up, and I hand it back to Aaron, and he plugs in his little USB cord into a shitty school Chromebook, and then he plugs this micro USB into the pen, but it's not going to charge. The pen just took a shit. It just died, right? So anyways, it's just blinking this red light at us every time we plug it in, and the pen just isn't charging. The battery for the weed pen is not charging at all. It's dead. Now, in this moment, I was a little bit bummed out, but it wasn't a huge deal. I was ready to just keep chilling, listening to music, and finish out bio class. But Aaron was very troubled by this. I could see the look on his face, and he was like, nah, absolutely not. He wanted to fix this right now. So anyways, we're not focused on our classwork at all anymore. The focus has become charging the weed pen. And Aaron makes this face, and I see a smile creep up on him, and I'm like, dude, what are you thinking about right now? Like, what are you about to do? And without saying another word, he leans over to the opposite end of the lab table and grabs a pair of scissors and cuts off the top of the micro USB cord that plugs into the pen. In my mind, I'm like, dude, what the hell is this man doing? He puts the scissors back, cleans up the little scraps of the cord that he cut, and he shows me these two wires exposed on this cut cable that he plugs back into his laptop. And I had never seen some fiend shit like this before. This was some next level shit. He ducks down below the desk, puts the cart into his mouth, and then he sticks these exposed wires from the cable that he cut with scissors. He sticks one of the little wires into the base of the cart, and then starts like in a rhythm, tapping the other wire against the part of the cart that screws into the pen on the outside, like the rim of it. So he's tapping these wires against the cart, and I can see the smoke pooling and going into his mouth. Like, I can hear it. It's working. So he's taking this big ass rip off of this cart using cut up wires in the middle of class, right? I see him pocket it. He zeroes it. He puts his hoodie up, like his arm up, and he exhales it into his hoodie. And I'm not going to lie, this one was a little bit more messy, all right? There's a little bit more vapor going out into the room. We quickly waved it away, swatted it out with our hands, and Mr. C didn't notice, but fuck, dude, we did not need anybody coming back to these lab tables. We start dying laughing, looking at each other, and then Aaron is baked as shit at this point. He's like 2 blinkers deep in the middle of bio, and then he offers me again. He's like, yo, dude, like, you want to hit this shit? Like, I can work the wires for you, and you can just, you know, pull on the cart and pocket that rip, you know, and just hold it into your lungs. Make sure that you don't let any of that smoke out, because we don't need anybody to see. He gave me a big ass rip, dude. I take this cart rip, I hold it in. I could immediately feel this sting in the back of my throat and that sharp feeling of fullness in my lungs. I knew that I hit this cart real hard, right? I held it in the best I could, and then I walked over just a couple feet and slowly just, you know, I quickly just blow the rest of that thing out below one of the lab tables in the back of the class, right? I go back over to the lab table where I'm chilling with Aaron, And he is going hard on the cart, dude. He is sitting there, ducking below his computer with his mouth on the cart with wires in it, just clicking the wires against the cart and getting that smoke out of it. And I'm just a couple feet away from him, and as he's sucking on the cart and the wires are in it, he turns with a side eye to look at me, and I just start dying laughing. And he did too. And a plume of thick vapor just starts to surround his face, and it's starting to come up below the desk and like into his hair and by the bag. And it's just this thick cloud of fog that just came out of this cart because he hadn't even inhaled it, right? So it's just right out of the cart. He pops his head up, immediately starts swatting at the smoke with his hands, or the vapor, whatever you want to call it. He's swinging his arms around trying to get rid of it. And then Mr. C from the other side of the room sees what's going on, and he's laughing a little bit. He's like, "Hey, Aaron, you okay over there?" And Aaron's face got a little red. He's like, "Yeah, Mr. C, everything's all good. There are just a couple flies by my Petri dishes that I'm trying to get rid of. I'm trying to swat them away." And that was pretty common because he was one of the few teachers that would open his windows during the day. So sometimes we would get big bugs and mosquitoes, or bees would come in every now and then. So it wasn't uncommon, right? But anyways, Mr. C looks at Aaron after he says this, and our hearts stop. My face goes bright red. I'm trying to hide it. I'm just on my computer acting like I'm doing my bio work. And we're really nervous because even though we cleared out the smoke that came up, that he let out from that rip when he started laughing, if Mr. C came over there, it would have fucking reeked of weed. Like, he would have had no choice but to get us in trouble. So we're sitting there just hoping that he drops this whole thing, and they're kind of looking at each other for a bit before Mr. C goes, he kind of cracks a smile and he's like, "All right, you two, focus on the work. We got to get this lab done." And then he turns and he sits right back down at his desk. And it was hilarious because the whole class fell silent for a second. I'm sure a bunch of people saw that smoke and knew what was going on. That was fucking nuts, dude. We hit a weed pen in the middle of biology class. And then when the pen died, we cut the charger and used bare exposed wires to smoke in the classroom. And not only that, but we came kind of close to getting caught. But hey man, I thought this was pretty interesting. If you guys like this, drop a like, sub, tune in for the next one. And hey, if you have any funny stories about getting caught doing stupid shit, drop them in the comments below.